EJ Liddell wins an award for his play on the hardwood. The Ohio State Buckeyes lead the country with players on the AP All-American teams, and a couple Buckeyes have found new homes. All that and more in this episode of Locked on Buckeyes.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked on Buckeyes, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Tuesday, December 14th in the year 2021, and today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Sonos is the official sponsor of ESPN College Football. Go to Sonos.com to learn more. I would also like to thank every person out there for making Locked on Buckeyes their first listen of every single day. The start to EJ Liddell's season has been amazing, and it has propelled the Ohio State Buckeyes to be on a 4-game winning streak with the win over the number 22 team, Wisconsin, most recently, and then a few games ago, beating the then number 1 team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. It's a great little start to the season, and it's a great little highlight on the Coach K farewell tour that he comes back to Columbus, the place where the Buckeyes beat him in 2010, and then they beat him once again. EJ Liddell has been named the CoBig 10 Player of the Week, along with Travion Williams from Purdue. Purdue's a good basketball team. They had the upset against Rutgers, but they're playing good basketball of their own. It has been so much fun to watch EJ Liddell play this year, and not just see him play, but see him grow and see the team feed off of him, not only on the offensive end, but also on the defensive end. He talked about in his post-game press conference in the way that Justin Ahrens has been becoming a two-way player. Well, EJ Liddell in his own right, he has lifted himself, propelled his play, and he has played a lot better on the offensive end and on the defensive end. Over this past week, his numbers look really, really good, at least from this past game. He in the game against Towson, as my computer once again wants to act up, he had 15 points against Towson. The game a few days ago, middle of last week, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block. Against Wisconsin, it was another 25-plus point performance from him, 28 points against Wisconsin. He had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. On the season, EJ Liddell has 4 games where he has scored 25 points or more in the game. Travion Williams, the other person that was the co-Big Ten Player of the Year with him this year. Against Rutgers, Travion Williams had 21 points along with 11 rebounds. And then against North Carolina State this past Sunday, he almost had a triple-double, 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. That matchup, or seeing Travion Williams on the court against Ohio State, is a matchup that I will be watching, but I'll also be expecting some more amazing plays from EJ Liddell. In the offseason, the preparation going for the NBA draft, and where he got that feedback from NBA personnel. I hope it said NBA draft previously, not NFL. A lot of draft stuff going on in my head. When he was getting prepared for the NBA draft, and he was watching and seeing other players prepare for the draft, he was hearing what scouts and executives were saying as they analyzed his game, and as they were saying, okay, here's where we think you will go, here's where we think things will be down the road, here's how we think your game is right now, here are the details of your game that we believe you need to improve on. And EJ Liddell could have been a player that said, all right, cool, I'm going to take this information and just work on certain things, not work on all of them, not perfect things. But you have seen him. He's one of those players that I'm not sure if there's a player out there that can slow him down, or, yeah, I won't say stop. I won't even say he's unstoppable. But it seems like when EJ Liddell wants to do things on a basketball court this season, he does them. Offensively, he's first bucket of the game against Wisconsin was a three-point shot that he made with a hand in his face. I mean, this is somebody that we saw him stretch his game out to the three-point line last year, but now he's more comfortable, he's more fluid, he's more agile on the court. He is somebody that if you're going to put your big man on him, he can beat you off the dribble. If you're going to put a smaller guy on him, he'll just back you down and get into the post. He will feel out the defense, feel out where things are, and then exploit the holes as he sees them, as he reads the opposing defense. On the defensive end, this defense is contagious. The energy that they're putting out is contagious. We highlighted Jamari Wheeler a day ago, but also you could highlight what EJ Liddell is doing and how what EJ Liddell is doing is also assisting players like Zed Key, Kyle Young, Justin Arns, everybody else on the court to do their job. You're a leader, and Chris Holtman in his press conference a day ago, he ended up talking about how we know this is EJ's last year. I mean, we knew that going into it at the end of last season when he went to the NBA pre-draft process. I thought it was a move too early, but I do see why he made the move and why his game has propelled and gotten so much better in the offseason. EJ is going to be gone. Like I said yesterday, I have seen people that have votes for these things say that EJ Liddell is possibly the player of the year front runner right now. That's how good he is playing. And with Ohio State being on TV, being on these networks where they're going to get a lot of eyeballs, especially against Wisconsin, another top 25 team that was expected to be really good on defense, that 28-point performance, 9-rebound performance for Ohio State as a team, not just as an individual for Liddell, but as a team when they had been struggling sometimes rebounding, were plus 21 in that department. These are moments where Liddell is making strides, is showing improvement, and he's having so much fun with it. And that Colgate-esque smile that he has, that is something that, one, could be an NIL deal for him. But then also, number two, it's a way for not just for him, but for so many people to see how much fun he is currently having on the basketball court. EJ Liddell, co-Big Ten Player of the Year, along with Trevion Williams from Purdue. I can't wait for those two guys to be on the basketball court together. I hope you're ready for that one, and I hope you have your popcorn ready when that one hits your television screen. You are tapped into Locked On Buckeyes here on a Tuesday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I want to remind you to make sure you check out the Ultimate College Football Preview 2021. Local experts, betting advice, and draft analysis. The most comprehensive college football playoff preview begins this Friday. Remember during the season when people were talking about how young the Ohio State football team is? When people are talking about how inexperienced the Ohio State football team is? No one said this team is not talented. The narrative was they're young, they're inexperienced. They're going to have some troubles throughout the season, and we're going to see that throughout the year. Yeah, they can beat the bad teams, but can they compete with the good teams? If somebody said it's because of talent, you will say, wait, don't we live in an era where people talk about all the time, not myself, I try not to go down this road. People talk about all the time the stars that a football team has, the 4 stars, 5 stars, the blue chip ratio that Bud Elliott talks about. He works for 247 Sports, where you have to have so many 4 or 5 stars to even have a chance to win a national championship. Isn't that the era that we're talking about right now that we're in? You're going to tell me that the team it doesn't have talent? That's a little weird to me. What you could say is, well, the team has talent. I believe they have talent. I think you believe they have talent. Also, what you can say, the team just needed some reps. That's really it. They just needed to get some reps, get some plays under their belt. Well, the team got some reps. The team got some plays. And this team, the Ohio State Buckeye football team, leads the country with members that were part of the AP All-American teams. 6 second-team members, 2 third-team members, 0 individuals made the first-team AP All-American team. On the second team, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Nicholas Petit-Frere, Thayer Mumford, Haskell Garrett, and Noah Ruggles. We'll talk about something very soon in a few minutes. Big going on with Haskell Garrett right now. On the third team, CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Some other names that were a part of the AP All-American team as I pull this article up. My computer has been acting weird lately, having a mind of its own. First team All-American team, some notable names that you will know. Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner, was the AP All-American quarterback on the first team. Running back Kenneth Walker III. Let me look and see. Tyler Lindenbaum, the center from Iowa, who could potentially be a top 10 pick. That's how good he is. Now, I don't know if a center will go as high as top 10, but he is really, 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 really good. Jameson Williams was a part of the first team as well, along with David Bell from Purdue. They were two of the three first-team All-American wide receivers. The other one, Jordan Addison from Pittsburgh. On the defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson was the first-team defensive end edge rusher for the AP All-American. Kayvon Thibodeau, week 2. Well, actually, he didn't play against Ohio State earlier in the year. Will Anderson from Alabama, Jr., Nakobe Dean from Georgia, Devin Lloyd from Utah, a couple of the linebackers. Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati was first team as well. Going to keep on going down. Kenny Pickett, Evan Neal from Alabama. Kenny Pickett, the quarterback from Pittsburgh. Evan Neal, the junior offensive lineman from Alabama. I mean, these are some notable names that you hear. The one thing I like is that Noah Ruggles is getting his attention nationally. I think Noah Ruggles as a kicker you're in a tough group to consistently get recognized for what you're doing as a kicker, because there are so many kickers that are playing football in college football. What he did this year, the growth that he had, it was amazing to see. I like that. A couple notable names here. Second team safeties, Jaquan Brisker from Penn State, Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, JoJo Domann, defensive back from Nebraska, was on the second team as well. Hassan Haskins, a name that I don't want to hear very much anymore, was the third team running back, so on and so forth. The Ohio State Buckeyes, this team is talented. Inexperience is a good way to use some of this, but this team is talented. But one thing I think about when I look at these names here, it's not so much inexperienced. The guys that are on this list all got reps previously. So we see the inexperience on the team. But even though there's inexperience, a lot of the older guys, they were helping the younger guys, and we saw that experience keep going forward. Keep going forward for them. Once again, Haskell Garrett. I love watching this young man play. I absolutely love it. I love seeing his growth. I love seeing how he helps the younger guys, Tyleik Williams, Teron Vincent, who's older actually, Antoine Jackson, he is helping them grow. And Haskell Garrett is not only an AP All-American this year, he's also an individual that just accepted his invitation to the Reese's Senior Bowl. Remember just a couple days ago, we talked about Tyreek Smith and how he had accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl, one of the postseason bowls or showcase experiences where players like Haskell Garrett, Tyreek Smith, and Jeremy Ruckert that are Buckeye players, where they can showcase their skills. Some of the all-star games that Buckeye players can go to in college football, the Reese's Senior Bowl, East-West Shrine Bowl, NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, College Gridiron Showcase. Recently heard about that one about 6 months ago. Cajun All-Star Bowl. First time hearing about that one is last week. Spiral Tropical Bowl. That one's new. That one is in Orlando. And then the Hula Bowl in Hawaii as well. This is a great time for Haskell Garrett. I do know Haskell Garrett is a really good player, but I think he could do certain things that Jonathan Cooper did last year. Now, different type of background, different type of performance, different type of playing time while at Ohio State, different scenarios while at Ohio State. But one thing Jonathan Cooper did last year during the pre-draft process going into the 2021 NFL draft, Jonathan Cooper took advantage of the opportunity in front of him. Everybody knew that it was going to be a tough task for Jonathan Cooper to be a day one, if anything, even a day two pick. It was going to be very, very, very tough task and something that I don't think anybody expected from him. But one thing we did see with Jonathan Cooper, no matter how many interviews he had, no matter how many times he was on the field, how many reps he took in front of these executives, every single time people loved him. People learned more things about him. They saw his work ethic. They saw his drive. They saw how much agility that he had, even though there were some deficiencies in his game. We saw how good he could be on the field. And even when he had some off-season or post-draft preseason NFL health issues, and he had to have some surgery due to that to tend to some things going on with him medically, he is still a piece of the Broncos defense currently that is vital to the team. Haskell Garrett, I believe this could be his same thing for him. Haskell Garrett, take advantage of this opportunity. Take advantage of having all of these eyeballs on you. Being on, I believe this game is going to be played on the Senior Bowl. I believe it's going to be played on the NFL Network. I do know it is the week in between the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games and the Super Bowl. So there's no other games going on that week football-wise except for you. There will probably be some college basketball games, some NBA games. But when it comes to college football specific, all eyeballs are on you. Seize the day. Carpe diem. Take advantage of this opportunity. I'm excited to see what he does, what Tyreek Smith does, what Jeremy Ruckert does, and what any other Buckeyes do that go down to the Senior Bowl. I do expect 2 other Buckeyes to accept invitations to this bowl. They're Munford and Chris Olave. At least those 2 guys, I do believe, will be down in Southern Alabama for the Reese's Senior Bowl this year. You are tuned into Locked On Buckeyes here on a Tuesday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I want to remind everyone to make sure while you're listening to the podcast, take a screenshot. If you're at your computer screen, take a picture, put that thing on Twitter, tag me in the tweet at jsteven07, put it in your Instagram story, same handle at jsteven07. I will put it in my story. If you're on Instagram, I will end up retweeting that thing on Twitter. Go ahead and share that. If you get your wraps from Spotify and Locked On Buckeyes is in your wrap for the year, tweet that thing out, share that thing, Instagram story or Twitter, tag me in it on either one, share that thing. I will share you. I will share what you're doing. Just let more people know in a free, easy way, the place to stay up to date with their Ohio State Buckeye football and basketball teams right here with the Locked On Buckeyes podcast. The transfer portal is crazy. I always say this. I am slow to get along with trends. I am not a person that hops on with trends very, very quickly. It takes me a little bit of time to hop on things because there's so much stuff being thrown at us all of the time. I'm skeptical about a lot of the things that are happening. And it takes me a while to get used to things that are happening. NIL, that started July 1st. You know what else is new? The transfer portal being utilized in this way. This is new territory, and I don't even think the coaches, I don't even think some of the players know how to properly navigate this new venture. 2 players that were former Buckeyes that have now found new homes. Quinn Ewers, he is going to the school. He has decided to transfer to the place that he originally committed to before decommitting and committing to Ohio State. That is the University of Texas. Craig Young from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Northwest Indiana, not far from the state of Ohio. He is transferring from Columbus, going to the University of Kansas. New beginnings for both of these individuals, different scenarios. Both of these individuals want to play. Both of these individuals want to go to a place that will allow them to showcase their skills, to be on the field, and to be the best college football player they can be immediately. Not sitting on the bench, not doing all these other things, doing things immediately. We talk so much about Quinn Ewers. This Craig Young thing hasn't really been, I think, highlighted in a proper way. There's been so much other news coming out at the same time when Craig Young ended up hopping into the transfer portal. I think the thing with Craig Young, you have a new defensive coordinator. You haven't played much at Ohio State, but you also have a new defensive coordinator. The uncertainty about your own very position coach is up in the air. You're going into the bowl season, and you're seeing a lot of players around the country that are hopping into the portal. Maybe because they're disgruntled with the current situation. Maybe because they're impatient and don't want to compete for a starting job. Whatever the situation may be, he is seeing so many people around the country, college football-wise, hop into the portal for different situations. I think also he is seeing what's going on out west with Oklahoma and USC with the Lincoln Riley situation, where Lincoln Riley left up really when like a thief in the night. He said, bye, Oklahoma. I'm going to Southern California. And he also saw Oklahoma had a few coaches leave Oklahoma and then go to USC. I think Craig Young is seeing all of these things go on right in front of his eyes. And he is saying, what's the best move for me right now? I'm sure he has people advising him, maybe some people in Columbus, maybe some from his hometown of Fort Wayne, Indiana, or maybe some other places along the way. He is seeing all this going on. And with the uncertainty about his coach in his position, being there or not being there, I've heard some people say that Matt Barnes is loved by Ryan Day so much that Matt Barnes is going to keep his job. I have heard some people say that Matt Barnes is going to be shipped up out of town. That's to be determined. I don't know. We all have already heard what Jay thinks. If you're going to view this coaching situation at Ohio State on defense in a certain way, go back to what my dad says at the end of Pacers games, at the end of seasons, at the end of Colts seasons. Hey, you got these players here. Yeah, maybe on the Pacers basketball, a lot smaller number than a football team. You got maybe two, maybe 3 players that can stay. Everybody else could get shipped up out of town. Everybody. Because we're trying to win now. We're not trying to win 5 years from now. We're trying to win right now. And we're trying to win right now. You have to take things in the proper perspective and not wait and delay things. Make changes immediately. And like I said, on the defensive side, defensive coaches, if you want to keep anybody, Larry Johnson stays. Al Washington, Kerry Coombs, Matt Barnes, all 3 of y'all can go. We have data. We have concrete reasons why that can happen. Well, Craig Young has no idea. Craig hears all this stuff. Craig Young has no idea what Ryan Day is going to do with his own position coach of Matt Barnes. With that being said, I understand why, after being at Ohio State as long as he has been, he is thinking about and he has moved forward with transferring from the place he went to originally to a place that I believe he can play and be a big piece, be a big part of the Kansas Jayhawks defense. I'm happy for Craig Young, excited for his future. I'm looking forward to seeing what Quinn Ewers does next. I have documented it, what my thoughts and ideas are about Quinn Ewers and what he did at Ohio State, him leaving 2 schools, 2 football teams in 4 months. All that stuff has been documented. If you want to go back, check it on the podcast feed, or even check it out on the YouTube as well. That has been documented very, very well. But I'm still looking forward to seeing what Quinn Ewers does. One thing I think benefits Quinn Ewers that hurt Tate Martell, 2 highly touted, recruited, rated quarterbacks coming out of high school. Martell was on QB1, the Netflix documentary. Quinn Ewers was not. 1, he didn't have a senior season. And then 2, well, that was really it. I don't think they have the documentary anymore as well, so that would be 2. He didn't have a senior season of high school, and the documentary, I believe, has been stopped. With those 2 details, we had an inside look at the individual, the person Tate Martell is. So we already had not a preconceived idea. We had an idea about what would possibly happen once he got to Columbus and played college football. He kind of did what a lot of people thought he might do, attitude-wise, as a person. Now, the stuff on the football field is completely different. But Quinn Ewers didn't have that. All many people know about Quinn Ewers is he's one of the highest-rated recruits, or maybe the top-rated recruit ever in 247 sports history. I know one of the highest ones, highest recruit in Ohio State history. We see all of those things. But we didn't get a behind-the-scenes look at the person Quinn Ewers is via a documentary following him around at home, at school, in his day-to-day life. We didn't get that. We got that with Martell. Didn't get that with Ewers. That could be why we hear rumors, but nobody knows what goes on in the locker room, in that dorm room, or wherever he might be. I'm looking forward to seeing Quinn Ewers at Texas. Is this the man that Steve Sarkisian wants to run his offense? Is this the man that will help Steve Sarkisian do things at Texas that have not been done in a very long time? That is to be determined. Quinn Ewers to Texas, Also, Craig Young to Kansas. There are other Buckeye players that were on the team this year that are still uncommitted, but they're still in the transfer portal. Linebacker Dallas Gant, linebacker Kayvon Pope, safety Amir Reap, quarterback Jack Miller, the third, and then also Ryan Watts, cornerback. Those are the Buckeyes in the portal that have not committed anywhere just yet. So much fun, so much going on. And make sure in the meantime, the Buckeyes have a basketball game this Saturday. There are other sports going on as we speak. Make sure you check out the Locked On Bets podcast. The Locked On Podcast Network puts on the Locked On Bets podcast to help people like yourself make money betting on sports. Locked On Bets, your boy Q is there. Lock of the day, pick of the day, helping you make money in a very easy way. You can subscribe to the Locked On Bets podcast, the same place you're listening to Locked On Buckeyes right now, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your fine podcast. For Jay Stevens, this is Locked On Buckeyes here on a Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day.